But yeah, it's a different play, and we aim to outperform Bitcoin in a bull market, and we aim to try and protect the downside in a bear market.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by London Bitcoin Company CEO Hewie Rattray. Hewie, great to speak with you again. You've just raised £1.5 million. Can you explain how this new capital will be deployed and your specific growth priorities it'll fund over the next 12 months?
Yeah, so Stephen, this capital is, as most of our previous raises, almost exclusively allocated to building our Bitcoin stack. And over the next 6 to 12 months, we intend to keep doing similar capital raises and deploying again into Bitcoin. I want to go towards more diluted forms of financing, i.e. debt or convertible debt with a long dated convert on it. But yeah, for now, we take what is available to us and we deploy that, and we kind of build our Bitcoin stack that way.
Do you continue to see strong appetite for your stock, Hewie?
Yeah, there's definitely investor interest for all these treasury plays, I think. And we offer a unique angle. And I think a lot of it is working to educate, especially institutional investors, on the opportunity and why the flywheel works, so to speak. So yeah, we're working towards a long-term strategic partner when it comes to investment. And I think hopefully we'll have that for the investors in the next few weeks.
Huey, why would an investor buy a share in a Bitcoin treasury company as opposed to the underlying Bitcoin itself?
So I'd always recommend, if you're capable to try and buy Bitcoin yourself first. And I always think fundamentally Bitcoin is the best investment and the best exposure. Treasury companies offer something different, something slightly more dynamic and, without using a bad word, something slightly more leveraged to the upside. Um, so yeah, it's a different play, and we aim to outperform Bitcoin in a bull market, and we aim to try and protect the downside in a bear market. But I'm a big believer in Bitcoin as an asset class, and I would never recommend anything over owning Bitcoin itself.
Huey, you mentioned aligning the balance sheet with your long-term conviction in Bitcoin. What milestones or targets should investors look out for as proof this strategy is working?
So, we obviously have to think about what's right for our investor base and our long-term holders. And, just to reference something directly, the raise that I did recently or yesterday was, it had some negative publicity around it, and definitely there's some people unhappy with it. And the message I want to put out to our shareholders and people who are considering investing in our stock is I have to do what's right for the investors in 6 months' time or a year's time. I have to make unpopular decisions in order, for them to turn out to be right, further down the line. And when I raised money yesterday or when I raised money last week, it's done with the understanding that it's going to be an unpopular decision. But ultimately, I want to do the most sensible decision for the long-term holders and the most sensible decision for the company. And that consists of building our Bitcoin stack, whatever the environment, and keeping and pushing on and keeping the clock ticking, so to speak. And whilst we explore other ways to do it in a non-dilutive way.
Well, Huey, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated on your progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Hewie Rattray, the CEO of London Bitcoin Company.